Symmetry 101, how to develop the most perfectly proportionate body. You don't want to be that guy in the gym who you look over, big chest, big arms, boulder shoulders, but stick legs. This just looks funny. You look at one of those guys and you're like, wow, this guy's impressive. And then you see him in shorts and you're like, wow, where's the rest of you? You don't want to be that guy. So in order to develop a perfectly proportionate physique, it's very important to work each muscle individually, making sure that you're touching on every single body part. It's so important to do that. You don't want to neglect any body part. As soon as you neglect one body part, the rest of your proportion is gonna fall. It's definitely important to work on your weak points when focusing on building a proportionate physique. It's one thing to just have good arms or a good chest, but it's very important to have a well-balanced physique. Arnold Schwarzenegger was known for his chest and arms. Those were his best body parts. But he was also known as having the best body because he was in proportion. Every muscle flowed together. Same thing with your body. That should be your main goal. You don't want to have just big arms. You want to have an impressive physique overall. So the couple of things that you should be working on. You should be working on making sure that your routine fully supports your weak points. You don't want to neglect your weak points. If your calves are a glaring weak point, you want to hammer them until they become a strong point. You don't want to have one body part bigger or smaller than another. You want to make sure that you balance all that out. That's the key in having good proportion. Now, what about your genetic limits as far as your structure? When it comes to your structure, there's not really much you can do. Your structure was pretty much genetically determined for you. So that includes where your hips go, where your muscles insert to, how low they insert, how low they hang. It also includes the size from the left to the right. Some people have bigger right arms than bigger left arms, and so on. That is all genetically predetermined. The one thing that we can focus on is you and your intensity, your routine, your diet, and things like that. That's the only way you can really change your genetic limits. So, in other words, if your hips are wide and you need a V taper to have a well-balanced physique, well, you can lose some body fat and that'll definitely shrink down your waistline, which is where your hips are, but you could build your shoulders and your lats up enough to where you're starting to look V tapered. So you can, work around your genetic limits. If your left side is bigger than your right side, start with your left side. Start doing more one arm isolation movements on the one side to balance out your physique. Those are some quick things you could do. Your body fat. Body fat is a big thing. A lot of people think that certain muscle groups are bigger, but really it's just about fats covering. Oh, my arms are hugging the sleeve. My arms are 20 inches. Well, you're also 240 and 25% body fat. So your arms aren't really hugging the sleeves. Once you lean out and bring that body fat down to a presentable level, 10 and below, you really start to see cuts, veins, definition, things like that. You can really see where your body's at and see what needs to be developed. So that's pretty much it. When you're trying to work on balancing your physique, the most important thing is your training routine, and listing your weak points in priority. So if your calves and your legs are a glaring weak point, start with them in your physique. List all your major body parts on a piece of paper. Start with the weakest body parts first and put them in number order or priority. So if my calves are a glaring weak point, I'm going to say my calves are my number one body part, then my legs, then my back, then my chest, then my arms. If my arms are my best body part, I'm going to give them less attention and give more attention to my calves, because that's the area that needs to grow and needs to be brought up to balance out my physique. So that's what I recommend for you guys, for those of you trying to get a well-balanced physique, a perfectly proportioned physique. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to check out my website, www.abfitnesstrainer.com, for online coaching and other online programs. Thanks again for watching. If you guys have any questions, be sure to comment below.